Okay. Hi, everyone. I've got a special guest with me today. Her name is Gypsy. She's from Free to Move Integrated Bodywork. She's a Masterson method practitioner. And I met Gypsy a few years ago when she came to treat my gelding back then. And recently I've been seeing her every few months because she's coming and work with my mare. So we became quite close friends as well. And a few weeks ago we were chatting and she told me she fell off her horse. So I offered her therapy session with me to help her overcome the fear that she might have because of the fall and work through some feeling that might still bothering her and really to regain her confidence back. So I thought it will be a great idea to invite her so she can share her experience and some insight about how she felt during the session. So welcome, Gypsy.
Thanks, Savvy. Nice to be here.
Thank you. So can you tell us a bit about yourself?
So I live in the Yarra Valley, and at the moment I have 3 horses, and I am a part-time equine body worker. I do Masterson method and red light therapy, and I also have another part-time day job in the fashion industry.
Oh,
So yeah, keep myself pretty busy.
busy lady.
Yeah.
So how many horses have you got?
I've got 3 horses. I have a young filly. She's about 18, 19 months old. And I have her mum, a mare, my riding horse, Esky. And then I have a semi-retired gelding, Apache, who gets a little bit of work from some friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They keep you busy as well.
The 3 of them keep me pretty busy. They're like my children. Yeah.
Yes, well, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
So, what sort of riding do you like to do?
I guess my main passion is trail riding and getting out and about, but I'm pretty busy, so I don't get out anywhere near as much as I would like. So I also you really enjoy flat work and dressage. So more English style, low level flat work and dressage, more kind of classical training. I do things slow and steady. I figure that's the best way to get a result.
Yeah, completely agree. Slow and steady is the fastest
Yeah.
way with horses.
Well, yeah, when it's working, it
Yeah,
works. But
when we have,
nothing works all the time.
correct, completely agree.
Yeah.
It's a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah.
So, what motivated you to get some help?
Well, I had a challenging probably 6 or 8 months. I've just been bringing my mare Esky back into work, and for the first few months things were going okay, and I was probably just in the headspace of, oh, we'll just pick up where we left off. But she'd had nearly 2 years off, and her body had changed, and she wasn't really quite right. And in that process of trying to work through stuff with her, I had a couple of falls. One actually quite bad. I hurt myself quite badly. I fractured a rib, and I did a lot of damage to my hip, and I was quite out of action for a little while. But that was followed by 2 additional falls, and at that point I realized I got that feeling in my gut, in my heart, that second guessing of myself, which was a kind of a new feeling for me, and it snuck up on me, definitely. And it wasn't easy to identify. Part of it was just frustration and not knowing what I should do, and part of it was like, oh, what am I going to do with Esky? How am I going to bring her on safely if she doesn't, she was, I mean, 2 of the falls were because of big shies.
Yeah.
So she's not feeling safe. I'm not feeling safe. I didn't want to get into a cycle with her where we were going backwards I wasn't feeling good on her because she's quite sensitive.
Yeah.
And you and I get together every couple of months over the horses, and you've been talking about what you do, and I'm quite familiar with somatic therapies because my sister's involved in that also. So I had a good sense of what you were doing, and I really loved the potential.
Yeah.
And I absolutely took you up on the offer to do a session. In fact, we did 2 sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did
Yeah.
you feel?
And
Sorry.
well, it's really interesting with this kind of work for me. You don't know what's going to come up, and that's always a little bit daunting because you're putting a lot of trust in, you know, your counselor or your therapist who's working with you through this. So you have to, you know, bare your soul a little bit and be nice and honest. But the honest with yourself is what, you know, most importantly. Um, but what ends up happening is you get a little bit of insight into what's really going on in your body and where the problems may be. And I mean, you were there, so you know that a lot of other things come up also, and that certainly was the case for me. Other areas in my life where I'm struggling were really overlapping with where I was struggling with my writing. And that became more clear as we did the sessions. And to me, that was the most enlightening. And it absolutely gave me an opportunity to let go of some emotional baggage, but also to get some clarity around what's actually going on in my body and why are maybe things coming up the way they are.
Yeah. Now, it's really interesting when you said it's all overlap because, yeah, what we think, you know, yes, we're talking about horses here, but everything else that we encounter in life and all the experience, they all connected to each other. So we can't really
They do,
separate.
yeah.
We can't really
No.
separate. So when we dig deep, these past things or traumas just rise to the surface, and yeah, they really connect to
Yeah.
each other. Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And it was, in a way, it was a kind of a relief because I knew I had some emotional baggage that I was dealing with around issues, and I could feel that that was getting in the way of my life, but I wasn't so aware of how much it was getting in the way of the things I love the most, like my writing and my work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's until we uncover uncover it and slowly unpack it, then we see what's behind that fear. Oh, because the fear is just a symptom. You know, what's
Yeah.
behind it, that's what we need to really take care of. Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt for me, even though what was coming up prior to doing the sessions was that gut feeling, that fear, like afraid of being nervous with her, or you know, this fear of getting hurt again. What I felt underneath that was a little bit more lack of self trust, a sense of personal uncertainty, and other things that you know, I think the fear was, and anger even in relation to other stuff going on, but they were kind of, they were dominant. The fear was less there. It was almost a side effect of these other emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see it a lot, that the fear is just what we feel and what we recognize it straight away. We forget,
Yeah.
or we put aside all the other feelings that we been feeling them, but we just put them aside because we don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So how did you feel after the session?
Well, after both the sessions, I felt incredibly relaxed. That, you know, that was sort of overwhelming. The kind of relaxed where you're just sort of like, oh, like you've done the work. I don't know how to say that, but like, so I felt emotionally, you know, kind of worked. Definitely, I felt emotionally like I'd been through a process, but physically in my body, I felt really relaxed.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And did you feel that it was just a temporary feeling of relaxation, or did it take you quite a few days to keep that feeling?
Um, I think, I mean, I was really aware of it the afternoon after the sessions. And then what I was aware of after that was not so much a feeling of relaxation or anything like that, but just a much more clear, I'm just going to go and get on with that now. I'm just going to go and get on with it. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm not going to second guess myself. I'm not going to worry about if this happens or if this doesn't happen. I'm just going to safely go about doing what I know I need to do to bring my horse on.
Yeah.
And so I definitely had a sense, particularly after the first session, that that there was things had been wiped away, like baggage had been cleared from the path.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense. And that's a beautiful outcome because you came back to yourself, what you know what to do, because you know how to ride. It's not a question about that.
Yes.
You were just your body and your mind just filled up with anxiety, self-doubt, and other feelings that interrupted that clear thoughts. So when we took
Yeah.
care of those feelings, those emotions, you came back to you know what to do.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Yeah. It
that's
was very
exactly it.
much like that.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, would you recommend this to any lady that is afraid or anxious to ride or self-doubt? Or
I would absolutely recommend it to any person that felt that their emotions were getting in the way of their relationship with their horse or with their goals, or even if they just felt stuck.
yeah,
Because I think it's a common feeling when you're a horse owner to
mm,
get into a situation with a horse where you feel a bit stuck, or you lose a bit of faith in your own trust or your own abilities. And I think it's important to kind of look inward and remember this is where all of that comes from. And you've got the tools. You just need to be shown how to, I don't know, how to clear past some of the barriers. But yeah, I definitely recommend it to, um, you know, holistically, not just
yeah,
horse riders, anyone who's dealing with emotional blockages or traumas that are stopping them from doing what they want to do. But I think um, you've kind of honed in on something really useful within the horse industry, and that is, very practical, quite instantaneous
yeah,
support for people who are struggling to meet their own personal goals or expectations.
yeah,
I mean, it's not an easy industry, the horse industry. It's not easy to be a horse owner. So new ways to support us is always highly appreciated.
yeah. Thank you. And I believe that when we support ourselves, everything becomes better. The relationship with the horses, relationship with other people at work, it just have a ripple effect because we are more calm, connected to ourselves. We know what we want. We're more focused. So I
Yeah.
found personally that it affected my family, relationship with my husband, my kids, and obviously the horses as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think the horses definitely appreciate any help we can have decluttering our minds and our emotional states. I think it's not uncommon to be going out and about in the world, even with your horses, and not actually, I'm talking from my own experience,
Yeah.
not actually necessarily be really clear about where you're at in that moment.
Mm,
We live in our heads a lot, and we're out, we're doing the chores, we're moving the horses, whatever we're doing. But are we really clear where we are at emotionally? Are we self-regulating in a healthy way, or are we all in our heads and
yeah.
ignoring
Yeah.
other stuff? And I think the somatic type of counseling is a really good way to just check in
Mm,
and get connected with your physical self in a more practical way.
yeah. Yeah. Well said. And I completely agree with you. Completely agree
Good.
with
I'm glad you agree.
Thank you so much for sharing today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure. It was a really good experience.
Yeah. And I'm gonna leave a link to your Facebook page underneath in the comments. So if people from
Great.
Victoria or anyone else would like to contact you as well.
Great. Thanks, Abby. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.